their fall, salvation comes to the Gentiles. This is the theme of the Gospel of Matthew, of the book of Acts. I've shown and taken you into the writings of Maimonides a little bit, and then I've tried to push your nose into the Hebrew original text of Isaiah 49. And if we wish to understand Scripture, we have to very consciously learn to take different perspectives and to look at things not only from our Christian perspective and think we have it all properly. We don't understand it very often. Our Christian perspective is a German perspective or a Czech perspective or a Brazilian perspective or Asian perspective or African perspective. There are different perspectives in looking at what God is doing. Jews see things differently than Gentiles. And I want to take you today into Messiah's perspective and feel a little bit how Yeshua feels with all this whole process of salvation comes to the Gentiles through Israel's fall. If you would open with me 2 Corinthians 5. It's a verse that you very much know. At the end of the chapter, Paul says, we are Messiah's ambassadors. Or in the place of Messiah, we are ambassadors, and God appeals through us. We implore on behalf of Messiah, become reconciled with the one true living God. This is the central calling of the church. Let's never ever forget that. But what does this mean for Messiah? And what does this mean for Messiah who is in unity with his nation of Israel, the servant of the Lord? Look at verse 21 in 2 Corinthians 5. It says, the one who did not know sin, for our sakes, he, God, made him sin, so that we, Gentile believers, might become the righteousness of God in him. This is complicated? It's very simple. God takes Messiah and makes him sin, so that I become righteousness. And God looks at me, the judge looks at me and sees what? Righteousness, because he has made Messiah sin. But from Messiah's point of view, and that's his perspective we are looking at, what is Messiah? He is sin. And what does the Jewish people see in looking at this Messiah or at her Messiah? It looks at Jesus and it says sin. And they say, well, we don't want that. That's what the Apostle Paul says. Go with me to Galatians 3. And Galatians 3, Paul writes about the righteousness that comes by faith to us Gentile believers. And he says in verse 13, Messiah has bought us out from the curse of the law. Messiah came and paid the price. And how did he do it? By becoming a curse for us. For it is written, cursed is the one or everyone who is hanged on a tree. And he becomes a curse so that to the Gentiles the blessing of Abram might come in Messiah Yeshua, so that we might receive the promise of the Spirit through the faith. Now look, we have to really see what happens here. Jesus doesn't come and is the rich American uncle who says, oh, you have a problem. No problem. I have money. I pay for it and you will be okay. What Messiah did is he became sin so that I could become a righteousness. He became a curse so that the blessing of Abraham could come to me as a German, as a non-Jew. I think Yeshua today has these scriptures in mind when hearing that his people call him, when they talk about Jesus, they call him Hanitla, the hanged one. Or they call him not Jesus, not Yeshua like Rambam, Maimonides. They call him Yeshu. Come to Israel and listen to young people talking about Jesus. Not necessarily negatively, but they call him Yeshu. And Yeshu is an abbreviation, an acronym of the sentence Yimach Shmo Zichono. His name and his memory be blotted out. You normally use that curse only for the one who instigated the Holocaust, for the persecutors, for the enemies. We these days celebrated the Feast of Purim. And whenever the name Haman appeared in the synagogue, they shout, they make all kind of noise to blot the name out. This is when they talk about Jesus. Because in their eyes, he is sin. He is a curse. Do you understand what it means from Messiah's perspective and from the Jewish perspective? If through their fault salvation has come to the Gentiles, if you discover that once it pops up in the New Testament all over, I'll just take Colossians. And there Paul writes, now I rejoice in my sufferings for you. I know that Christian theology has made all kinds of things up. What are the sufferings of Paul? He says, I am filling up what is lacking in the afflictions of the Messiah in my flesh for his body, that is the church. What does he mean there? Paul was permanently, day by day, suffering that his people of Israel would not accept Messiah. And he would not be united with them. He would be persecuted by them for believing in Messiah and preaching Messiah to the Gentiles. Do you know what it means from Messiah's point of view? That he says there, I have failed. I worked in vain. Isaiah 49, we looked at it last time. But let's not forget, and only in this context it makes sense that Isaiah 52 says, behold, my servant shall act wisely. He will succeed. He shall be high and lifted up. He shall be exalted. Never forget that. But the way there is through their fall, is being a sin, is being a curse. And that's up until today the case.